Hello everyone, SMA Watts here, and we're going to do a deck tech on the deck I decided to play today in Classic Heirloom. It is a Rug Delver deck, obviously a takeoff of the staple of Eternal Play, um, but cut down because we don't have access to several of the ridiculous threats that Rug Delver can normally play. We still have Delver, the namesake. We don't have Tarmogoyf, and we don't have Nimble Minx. We're still running 12 threats, though. So in place of our Goyf, we have our Quarian Dryad, and in place of our Mongoose, I guess, is the Young Pyromancer. Um, I guess that's what I mean. You could argue that you could flip them around either way. It doesn't really matter. Our 12 threats are these guys. Delver obviously has, since we're running 28 spells that flip Delver, that's a 47.6% chance of Delver blind flipping um, with any random card in our deck. Obviously, it's never going to be perfectly that because we're going to have drawn some cards. We're not going to blind flip off of but I mean, the fact that Delver himself is obviously out of the mix there ups them a little bit. So, Young Pyromancer, once again, we have 28 spells that trigger Young Pyromancer. So, odds are usually pretty good that we're going to get some tokens out of Young Pyromancer. He's probably going to be relatively quickly about 4 power worth of guys. And Quarian Dryad, since it's the only green card in the deck, gets very big very quickly and can put a lot of pressure up. Our spells, we're running 4 Ponder because it's the only of this style effect that's legal. Brainstorm, Preordain, Serum Visions are all not allowed. The only other one that's legal is Sleight of Hand, and we're running 3 of those. Unsummon, these were originally Vapor Snag, but Vapor Snag is not legal. I didn't realize that at first. I had to make a last minute change. It's possible Unsummon might not be good enough since, like, Vapor Snag probably was good enough because it also hits them, but Unsummon's not quite as good. Spell Pierce, there's a lot of blue-based decks in Heirloom right now because Factor Fiction, Jace, and Counterspell are all legal. Little Jace, not Big Jace, Little Jace, just the one that's like a really slow, one-sided Howling Mine. It's really what it is. It's a one-sided Howling Mine. 3 Sleight of Hands. Card selection is very important. Sleight of Hand, however, you don't really get quite the level of deck manipulation that you do out of Ponder. Like, Ponder combined with our 8 mediocre fetches enables us to occasionally get 1 or 2 of the cards and get rid of the other. So, 4 Lightning Bolts, pretty good removal. 4 Flame Slash, really underperformed. There are very few, like, I don't think Flame Slash is a good card in this format. Like, Flame Slash can be very good in some formats, but there does not seem to be, it seems to be more 5s and 3s, so Flame Slash doesn't really gain any advantage by hitting for 4, and being sorcery speed and only able to hit creatures, I think, makes it worse. So I would not recommend Flame Slash. I would recommend possibly going with Arc Trail to just potentially 2 for 1 or Fork Bolt over Flame Slash. And our harder counters, we have 3 Mana Leaks and 2 Forbids. I'm not 100% sure if Mana Leak should have been Counterspell. I'm not running a ton of blue sources, so. But the real thing I think that I struggled with the most with my deck, except for the one match where I just kind of was like, this is a terrible matchup, I don't think we can beat them, was the mana base. It's just really awkward. We don't have, since we have way too many coming to play tapped lands to try and be aggressive is the problem. So now I think that possibly just cutting these for 2 islands and a mountain and a forest may have been correct. Like, these might just be bad enough that, or maybe cutting mountains to have just these. I don't know, but we were almost never able to facilitate, because of the nature of how this worked. These don't work well without fetches. Really, is what it comes, or without fetches, real fetches, or shocks or real duels. They become a lot worse. So it just, our mana base was way too awkward. Our sideboard also a bit thrown together because I built this deck literally a half hour before the tournament. I just kind of was like, I want to play something like this, see how it works. 4 dispels. Very powerful in a lot of matchups because it's a 1 mana counter spell. 4 Ancient Grudges in case we ran into an artifact based deck, like Tron tends to be, or like Tempered Steel. There are a lot of decks where Ancient Grudge can, or eggs as well. Graveyard based decks. I know there's at least 1 or 2 Reanimator decks running around, and there was an eggs deck. And then Blue Elemental Blast. Kind of for a nod to the fact that red-based decks are always going to be good. And Blue Elemental Blast is just a great spell against a red-based deck, since it's destroy target non-land permanent or counter target spell. It's awesome for 1 mana. So we did not perform well. I think that most of this deck is probably fine, but I think red's the wrong choice. I think Bug Delver would have been a much better choice than Rug Delver. And I think next week I will be trying a bug-based Delver deck.